results from doing nothing. You are not helping your body in any way because it already knows what it's doing, because you're really the same thing. So you wishing you're losing fat or stressing over you're losing fat doesn't make you lose any more fat. So when you're in a caloric deficit or when you're fasting, you're getting results by doing absolutely nothing. But it's even better than that, because what you have is a 24-hour period where you've turned the eat switch from on to off. So you have 24 hours to explore your relationship with food. Because we live in a society of abundance right now. It is very rare that we eat because we're hungry. We're, 5 minutes away from the restaurant? Each and every one of us could go get food if we wanted. If you forgot your wallet at home, I'm sure one of us would cover you. Food is readily available. We don't eat because we're hungry. Very rarely, even when you think you have hunger pains, there's a very interesting phenomena associated with your body and your expectation of eating. We eat out of habit. We eat out of guilt sometimes. We eat out of stress. The important thing is when you find out when you're eating and why you're eating, by not eating, it gets confusing, then when you're eating again, when you're not fasting, you can take the lessons you've learned and apply them to your day. And that's how you create your own customs. Habit. I used to commute, and I would stop for a coffee every single morning. I could be a half hour late for work already, and the lineup could be around the block for the coffee. I would still stop. I didn't need the coffee. I mean, I was already panicking. I thought I was going to be fired, so I was wide awake. But I had to stop for that coffee out of habit. So that was just something I could probably change, and I did. Guilt is a very interesting one. We've all heard about pre, post, during workout nutrition. You got to eat your, 1, 2, 3 grams of protein per pound body weight. If you don't do that, something bad is happening. Obviously, right? That's sort of the message we've been given. So if you've made it to 5 or 6 at night, and all of a sudden you're like, well, I haven't had any protein today. This is bad. So you go out and you grab yourself one of those 500 milliliter things of chocolate milk, because there's 14 grams of protein there, and you pound that back. Well, that was probably an additional 350 calories you didn't need. You just ate out of guilt because you thought you were doing something bad to your body. So part of this morning's talk was talking about freeing yourself from that guilt. But it really does come into play when you look at why and how you eat. If you're eating out of guilt, and you may not realize you're doing it, you can actually increase your calorie intake quite substantially. I was convinced by eating 2,000 calories after every workout, I would put on massive amounts of muscle. And if I didn't, I would lose muscle. That was guilt eating. It was doing a really good job of not only preventing me from putting on weight, but gaining a lot of weight in the very wrong areas. Stress. This is great. Have a bad day, ice cream. Have a bad day, chocolate. Doesn't change your day. I mean, that flat tire still happened. But for some reason, we like to deal with stress by rewarding ourselves with sweets. You can still reward yourself with food. It's not the best idea. I like to celebrate with food, but not necessarily reward or try to make up for a bad day by eating. But I don't understand how this all of a sudden became an excuse to just, raid a Cinnabon. The idea of eating under stress is just almost as weird as eating over success. You had a good day, so you deserve treats. And those treats, for some reason, are very high sugar snacks. And we do this, I'm using examples that are very grandiose, but we also do this in very short, very small, very subtle things. Like you didn't eat, so you're going to grab a handful of cashews or almonds. And then that turns into a bit of a habit then, where out of habit, every morning you eat an extra couple of cashews or almonds, even when you did eat breakfast. And this can very quickly become a lot of habits, and based on stresses, successes, or guilt. And you're eating a ton and you didn't even know it. So if we go back right to the very beginning, and I talked about lunch being the amount of food in the palm of your hand. If you ate the amount of food in the palm of your hand now, would you even count it? I don't even know if that would count as a snack. If I was asking you to recall everything you ate today, doing a 24-hour dietary recall, you would give me for sure your breakfast, unless you were fasting. You'd probably tell me what you ate over at the restaurant. But you would not tell me about the almonds you ate on the drive-in. Right? You might have forgotten about another snack you had. And this stuff adds up. So we want to find ways to just avoid this, to recognize when it's happening. When you take 24 hours off from eating, you can understand all of a sudden why when that certain person drops by your house, you're like, the first thing you say is, hey, you want to go for coffee? It's just out of habit. You didn't need coffee then. Or you have that certain friend who you always see, and you go to that coffee shop, which is really just the new milkshake place. Just milkshakes are warm, and the cake is hidden as muffins, right? So you go there, and there's always that one meal you eat with that person. You have to watch for these things, because this is really the problem. These are things you can be aware of and you can change without really avoiding food, being afraid of food, or having a bad relationship. The really cool thing, too, is if you find areas where you're like, well, I like going and getting my triple cafe macchiato with that person, then do it. But at least you know why you're doing it. So it's not a surprise all of a sudden when you realize, wow, I overeat all the time whenever I go out. You just have to be aware, and you have to allow yourself the ones you like, and cut out the ones that you can cut out without any sort of stress on your life. So you got to learn from your fast, and you got to make small changes that are painless. We've talked to a couple of people who are currently fasting. Doesn't even matter if you're fasting. You can be currently dieting, and you've hit a plateau. You're exercising, and you're dieting. Small changes, and this goes for exercise or diet, can have profound effects as long as they're changes that don't affect the rest of your life, that are painless. Craig's example, those Tabata intervals that he did, would be 4 minutes at the end of your workout, painless. Well, painful 4 minutes, but then after that, painless. And there's lots of ways that you can make small but amazing changes in your diet and not even notice it. This is my example. It's my personal example. Those numbers underneath are the calories. 420, 345, 230, 150. I think we're all going to agree right now that 420 calories is a lot of calories to drink on your way into work every day. But I did that. That's a large triple. So 3 cream, 3 sugar. It's not as gross as it sounds. You get used to it and taste. That's what you associate with coffee. When I finally realized that I may as well be having a chocolate chip muffin every morning, because that's an obscene amount of calories to somehow fit in that small cup, I think, okay, we have to change this, but I'm not willing to give up my coffee. And I'm not even willing to give up cream or sugar. I'll have black coffee once in a while while I'm fasting, but other than that, the cream and sugar is part of coffee I enjoy. So I cut it down to a medium triple at 345. Then I tried a medium double, and that's 230, and really didn't taste that much different. And now, and I don't know what it is about the coffee in Tim Hortons, but I noticed that even if you just have 2 cream, it's still sweet. So at 2 cream and a medium is 150 calories. The interesting thing is, when I'm at my worst, and I'm better now that I'm not commuting as much, but when I was commuting, that was on the way home too. Didn't matter how late at night it was. When I got in my car, I had to have a coffee. Just again, habit based on, I don't know if it was stress, guilt, or just sort of make myself feel better for the horrible commute I was about to face. So if you look at the large triple, 840 calories from my coffee. It's not like I had a coffee, got home, and decided not to have dinner. We had dinner afterwards. By cutting it down to 150 twice, we're looking at, what, 500-600 calories gone on something that was very effective, but painless. I do enjoy a medium coffee with 2 cream on occasion. That does bump up to a large, but it is not a triple, and I don't miss it. It was a small change. Small changes that make big effects on how you look without causing you to have a really bad relationship with food. There's all sorts of examples, areas you can look at with this. There are people who been told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, so it turns out to be a feast. A small cutback for these people was a 4-egg omelet down to just 2 scrambled eggs. They didn't miss it because actually they forced themselves to eat that omelet. Forced themselves to eat because it was good for them. And that small change, profound effects. They were stalled at a certain weight for like months. One small change got them back on track because it was something they were already doing. They could make a small change. Wasn't painful. They didn't resent themselves for doing it. Cut down the calories slightly, and they were fine. Other examples of this are habits and customs. In the very beginning, we talked about dinner. North America, we like to think dinner is 5-ish. I told you about how in Italy, Spain, and Portugal, dinner is 10-ish. Neither one is right. So whichever one works for you, if you're a type of person who does not, you night eat, but you really don't enjoy it, you wish you didn't do it, a custom for you could just be you don't eat after 7. A custom for you could be at 7 at night, before my favorite show on at 8, I clean my kitchen. My kitchen is spotless, and it is closed. I mean, it is closed for business. If anybody goes in there and messes up the kitchen, I will kill them. Customs like that are really helpful. Not eating in your car, very helpful. Turning something you really enjoy into a celebration or an event rather than every single day event, amazingly helpful. Could you imagine how boring birthday cake would be if we had it every single day? It's like, well, some of us do. It's a muffin in the morning. But I mean, for the rest of us, if you had chocolate cake every single day and then someone's birthday came around, you said, what are you doing for your birthday? We're going to have cake. You'd be like, oh, well, then what? Right? It's taking special foods you really enjoy and making them an event. And that's a great way